goodness, everyone. It is 2022 and it is time for the first episode of the Score of the Year. Yeah. Oh. Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone had a as restful as possible break. We're in this the era of Omarion. there's ice boxes where our hearts used to be. It's winter in Minnesota. It is 9 degrees out, but we're doing the best we can.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is the Score. As usual, I am Rocky Jones, what is my title? Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Director at Minnesota Opera. And as usual, I am here with my perfect partner in podcasting performance.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, do you like that? The principled and very pretty Paige Reynolds.
Oh, okay.
Yay. And
I should just have you record that intro for me.
Well, it is recorded. I could just take a snippet and you can use it for whatever you like.
Let's just use that. Let's just keep that.
Okay. I wish I should have a pop filter for all those peas, but anyway. Unfortunately, our dear Lear Bynum is feeling a bit under the weather today, so he will not be able to join us, but in his place, we have our favorite guest host, Mr. Frankie Charles. Welcome back to the show, Frankie. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It's great to see y'all, as always.
It's good to see you too. It's good to see you too. How have you been? I feel like I haven't seen any of you in like 6 weeks, and trade secret, we haven't actually recorded one of these in like 2 months. We banked our content so we could take a break. But yeah, how are you both doing?
Staying warm, trying to.
Trying is the operative word.
Yeah, I try, but I have to get outside. My dog was acting like it wasn't like mildly blizzarding outside and just wanted to. I was like, surely after like 30 seconds or something, she'll want to go inside. And she was just like, no, let's go around the whole block. Let's run straight through the snow. Let's sniff the yellow snow. Let's
no, latte.
and then like really got the zoomies at the end and was just like running around in circles. But she's probably asleep now, so it's all good.
How's she doing in booties and her puffy jacket?
That's what I love. Cute.
Dogs and
the jacket it's great that she's warm. It's a struggle though, because she just gets so excited to go outside. It takes so long to put the jacket on her because she will not sit still. And we have to keep playing the game of I'll wait. Sit back down. She knows what she's supposed to do. So if you just stop and you give her the I'll wait face, then she'll sit back down next to the door and be like, okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, with all that said, I haven't been able to stay that warm because I got to take this dog outside.
See, that's why you need a cat. The problem though is that my cat is a summer baby. We have like a little sort of closed off sort of porch area between the house and the garage, and so she goes out there in the summer. The hotter, the more humid, the better, and she just like lays out on her back and just stretches and sleeps all day. She's the happiest thing you've ever seen. You go outside, she's got like a big smile on her face, where she'll jump up in the window and just like patrol the whole neighborhood and all the squirrels and rabbits and dogs and things. But in the winter, you have never seen a sadder, more depressed being in your entire life. She's just laying on my bed right now. Every time I go in, she just lifts her head up a little bit, like, is it summer yet, Daddy? And it's like, no, I'm sorry, sweetie. If I could, I would.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, the vibes are kind of like everyone, I suppose. Right now.
The vibes are all over the
The
place.
vibes are just wild. Uh, but did you all have a nice holiday break? Did you all do anything special or exciting?
Yeah. I drove to Michigan to see my family. Me and my partner went, and that was really nice.
Hmm.
It was good to see them. I uh got to catch up with my sisters and my nephew. He really loves it when I visit, and it's cute because he misses me, but he's gotten used to, yeah, like Auntie Paige comes and visits for like a week or a few days, and then she goes away for a long time, and then she always comes back. And so he's kind of got used to it. It was good to see him. And actually had a super proud moment with my sister because she's in school. She's doing online classes at Berkeley, and is taking a music theory and composition class
Oh,
right
okay.
now. Bless her soul. Um, or was. And she was so worried about it. Like, I know so many musicians hate having to learn theory. She was so worried. She would be
It
stressed
was
every
not
time we
my
talked about
favorite.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nobody's favorite. Nobody's. She was so stressed about it. And this girl got an A
Oh,
in the
okay.
class. She got an
Oh,
A on her
Work.
final.
Yes.
Her final was ridiculous. They had to compose something with all kinds of rules, and it had to have ABC structure. It had to have this many instruments, and it had to be handwritten,
Oh my
and all
gosh.
of that original composition. And I believe it was supposed to be almost like a film score. So they gave a scene that you were setting it over. This girl, she composed her own little original bossa nova like track for the film intro. She got a like perfect score. We listened to her professor's feedback, and he
Okay.
barely had anything to say. He was like, well, you could have done this thing here, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's fine. It's actually fine. Like, he had nothing bad to say for a very hard course from what I hear. So I'm so proud of her, but also I knew she could
Okay.
do it because she's always been just like musically gifted.
Come on, Black
Oh yeah.
excellent in music school.
Shout out to Olivia. That's my
Yes.
sister.
Shout out Olivia.
congratulations. Kicking ass.
Yeah.
What about you, Frank? Did you do anything cool?
I stayed home, took the week off from work to get to spend the last week of the year with my partner, who's out working in Dallas right now. Shout out to them. They drove all the way up here on Friday. What Friday was Christmas?
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, yeah.
Yeah, so they drove up Christmas Eve. It was like 14, 15 hours, and then drove back to Dallas the following Saturday. They hit a snowstorm in like Missouri, but got there safe. And so I'm just very thankful that I got to see them, because it's been 2.5 months, and it will be another 2.5 months of a contract down there until they're back, and we'll see what happens next. Such is the life of a production person and someone who, I don't know, I've landed here for right now at least. So
Well, and we're all the better for it, but long distance it's hard.
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, we did it for 2 years.
Been there, hoping the time passes quickly.
Yes.
For y'all.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, and it's definitely passing quicker for them while they're running shows. And while I'm stuck in the snow here, this is their favorite season. So
I was gonna say they also have a lot more sunshine to work with down there in the process. So
Well, but if last winter is any indication, they might be getting some snow and ice.
yeah, and the whole world could stop down in Texas if it's not careful. So who knows? Who knows? But I hope the best for Texas in this season, because last year was rough.
Last year was a lot.
That was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, y'all running your own power grid? Did this happen?
How
the layers of just what?
I just feel like we learned so much that I just simply did not know.
And I don't think they did either.
Right.
And yeah, and yeah, it's wild hearing some of the thoughts of their coworkers down there who had to like live through that. And then like my partner is just like living in a hotel right now, which isn't ideal because hotel living for an extended period of time is not that fun.
Mhm.
But maybe it's better. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I know on the last, if you all listened to the last clip show, the last pure black joy of 2021, I was like, I'm going to be in DC and seeing my family. And thanks to Omicron, that did not happen. Sadly, my stepfather had to be hospitalized for non-COVID reasons. But we just figured that with all of this insanity sort of sweeping the country, that better to be safe than sorry. He's fine now. He's out of the hospital. Shout out to Will, and recovering. But so I just stayed here in Minnesota, and my husband and I just, did New Year's on our own here on the couch. We spent Christmas with his family, and which was lovely. It was pretty quiet, just sort of trying to breathe and relax into what has, so far shaped up to be quite a year already.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I keep starting emails with, I hope the first 5 days of January have treated you well. And then I think about the first 6 days of last January, and I'm like,
Listen, I feel like I still think last January, I was just like, surely, the beginning of the year is usually chill. There's usually like people are recovering from the holidays. You don't feel like doing much. And now I'm just like, well, anything could happen.
Literally.
Literally anything.
Anything.
There could be a blizzard that takes out half the power somewhere. There could be, I don't know.
People stuck in their cars for 24 hours on I-95.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's that. So the world's full of surprises.
And of course, everyone's getting COVID.
Oh, that too.
We haven't learned anything in the last year, but okay. We hope everyone out there is staying as safe and healthy as possible. Get your boosters, get your N95s if you can't stay at home in your bunker. Because it's the wild, wild west out there. My God. But, as we go into 2022, we're thinking about sort of just the state of things, much like we were last year. We are hearing more and more about performances that we thought were going to, happen, getting canceled. As of now, we are still planning at Minnesota Opera to putting on The Anonymous Lover at the beginning of February. Cross our fingers that we were still able to do that. But, I was just curious, just asking the two of you all, now that we are in season 3 of this panopticon, which I guess is fitting. I don't know, like, what are you thinking about? Like, what are you looking forward to, if anything, in 2022? Or how are you feeling about the state of things right now when it comes to the arts and live performance?
I'm a little torn personally.
Yeah.
Earlier this week, I got an email officially canceling. I had gotten tickets to Milwaukee Rep to see a show called Tony Stone that is starring, my friend Kedron Spencer is in it, and she's lovely and she's amazing. And basically, Tony Stone is about a Black female baseball player and how she broke into the league. And Kedron plays Tony Stone, and I haven't seen her since we worked together in Maine in 2018, and so it was just kind of a bummer to get that cancellation. But I get it, with everyone coming back from holiday stuff, and I'm not surprised that like this first week of performances got canceled, but I do hope I get to see her show. And if you're in the Milwaukee area, shout out, go see her show. She's amazing. But yeah, definitely a little torn, because as much as it would be nice to get to see art again, I mean, we're very much not out of the woods yet, and
Very much.
I just feel like maybe the arts could use some more, I don't know, film training. Maybe that's where we're headed. Maybe.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me right now, especially, was just like my experience like going to get tested this week, and it was like a 2-hour line and wrapping through the very large building. I don't know. This stuff is depressing.
That's the thing, and it's
Mhm.
just so exhausting.
Like, I just feel like, is it like the mass neglect? I'm just like, are people not mad that we've been like left to figure this out like this? Are people not like, are we just like used to be? I don't know. I'm gonna try not to go on a political rant, but it was sad.
Used
It was
to
just
being
sad.
underserved.
Basically, yeah, public health right now is looking real trash, especially in comparison, especially for what's supposed to be the wealthiest nation in the world, or one of them. Like, I don't, it's just,
I mean,
yeah, I
We're
was
gonna
sad,
talk-
I was angry, and I don't know. And it's just like the continued grief that people are dealing with as well. And when it comes to the arts, honestly, I kind of feel like we need to be sat back down because I don't know if everyone retained and applied the lesson the first time. So there's, in a way, like, I welcome it. Like, I would welcome another complete close everything. I just wish it would come with like the support, like financial support or whatever, so that it doesn't mean businesses having to close, or like people not being able to operate ever again. Like, that's the thing. I just want all of us to be paid to stay at home for a while.
Well, you know, that's what you've been saying for the last like 2 years. That like in March 2020, if we'd all just been like paid to just stay home for a month, then probably wouldn't be here. But you know, we would have taken all that money and spent it on drugs, I guess. So we can't have it.
I mean, or I guess if you're a millennial, avocado toast.
Or avocado toast, or destroying the American cheese factories of America.
We wouldn't have been going to the shopping malls anymore like they want us to. So what's the point?
Malls were on their way out before the pandemic. They just
like, stop blaming. You can't blame millennials for everything. We ain't do that. We are not responsible.
I mean, American cheese, malls. What else did we destroy? Diamonds, the diamond industry. Everything. It's all us.
All our fault.
Just taking away all of the joy in the world, I guess. That's fine. What would bring me joy would be if our country could forgive student loans. That's my, when you said the yeah.
And you just think about how much that would just immediately just make, people's lives just easier, better, could contribute more to the economy. That apparently is the most important thing, more important than having people to, engage with the economy. But let me not get on a political rant now. But yeah, no, I feel you both. One of the things that I think is going to happen in 2022, or at least I have my fingers crossed, is that once we are past this Omicron peak, I'm sure there'll be another variant that pops up here and now from now until the end of time. But speaking of those lessons, the lessons of 2020 and the lessons of 2021, I do think and hope that, some great art is going to come out of it. That, people are going to sit down and really take stock of this era and just the new world that we're living in. Because we already see just the way that, the pandemic and George Floyd and Dante Wright and Breonna Taylor and all of these lessons that we've learned over the past couple of years have just opened up all of the, just made just plain, just all of the fissures in every facet of our society, from healthcare to education to politics to getting on the bus and going to Starbucks and getting a lot. And that, especially younger generations are going to look, back on this period. And I just hope that, the arts institutions that are still here and still standing, like us, and, like all of our peers, will be there and ready to welcome these new artists and their works, and be ready to support them in all of the ways that we have laid out over the course of the last year. But that's something that, I try to remain optimistic, even though it's it's a chore. It's a chore nowadays.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
real.
it's like staying optimistic is sort of like a job in and of itself at this point. It's tough, but with community, it's possible.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
That reminds me to mention the people who also, have had to quit because they have to take care of kids or sick loved ones, or people in their life with long COVID, or like people who become caregivers to children when they didn't expect to, like all kinds of stuff like that too. Just like, or just straight up like, I'm not gonna risk my health for my job, and I'm in a job that is interfacing with the public or around people, or they're not giving proper PPE, or they're not enforcing masks, and all kinds of really messed up reasons like that too.
Well, that's the situation that, Dennis is in right now. And I feel like every morning, I feel like perhaps we talked about this early on in the pandemic, but still, he's got a job where he has to interface with the public, and we live in a state where there is no mask mandate currently. And I just feel like every morning I'm sending my husband off to war. And I don't know, when I trust that he is taking all of the proper precautions that he can to keep himself and me safe. It's everyone else that I'm worried about.
Yeah.
It's never, it's always the other people. My mom's at a retail job as well, and she's not allowed to enforce masks. She's not allowed to necessarily protect her staff. And that's just where her company is at, and it's unfortunate. She hates it, but she's one of those folks that feels stuck. So I feel for you and your husband going to war. My mom jokes frequently now at this point that she just wants to get COVID, so that
Oh, no,
she
no, no,
can
no,
have
no.
some time off. And that's the thing. It's like my mother, a lovely woman, battled cancer and is now like dealing with a bunch of elderly white folks in a Hallmark and not able to protect herself and again or protect her staff, and is in an unfortunate management situation where she doesn't feel like she can do anything for them. And being on the risk, like the end where you're hearing about all of this, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
So
It's scary.
Yeah. And being removed, not living with my mother is nice, but I worry about her all the time.
No, and of course, and it's like, especially just thinking about the way this is disproportionately affecting communities of color, because we are the quote unquote low skilled workers who have to get on the crowded buses and subways and whatnot and don't have the choice not to expose ourselves and our families to this. 2022.
What do you have in store?
What do you have in store? Well, speaking of which, do you all have any resolutions, things that you all want to do for yourselves in 2022?
You know, I didn't make an official list, but the thing that comes to mind immediately is that I would like to meditate more. Yeah. Even if it's just like stop and pause for 5 minutes. Because that definitely builds up into a habit for me if I can just do that. So that's one of my goals.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's a good one.
And it helps manage anxiety a whole lot when I remember to do it regularly.
Oh, absolutely.
I need to remember to get up and move more. Especially with working from home, I'll sort of like plant myself at my desk and like I'll like go around in a little circle because I've got like a swivel chair. Like it's not getting up and moving around. I need to like move my body a little bit more. So that will be my resolution.
Well, actually, I can tell you, Frankie, that was my resolution last year. And I'm sitting here in a hoodie that I haven't been able to wear in like 3 or 4 years. So I actually kept that resolution. So, I mean, I'm just saying.
Cool. All right.
It works and you feel better. I'm proof positive that getting up and walking around or lifting something heavy every once in a while, it's cool. And you get to wear cute clothes. So
yeah, no, and my important distinction is I can't just end up walking in like circles around my apartment. My apartment's fairly small, and so it's very easy. Yeah, but like going somewhere, a walk outside, great idea when it's not below freezing.
When it's not below freezing, I will send you a video. And it's fun. It's just basically like walking in place and like doing some little aerobic moves, like for a half an hour in a small space. It's 4 small spaces. And she says at the beginning, like, if you don't want to go outside because it's cold, and it's just like perfect. It's perfect. And I'll put it in the show notes too.
Something I do when I want to move more that helps is just remembering to dance to what I'm listening to. But that can be fun too. if you want to move more, or if you feel like you can't dance, then bop to the beat, do some squats, do some like something like remembering to move to what I'm listening to helps.
Well, I hope everybody move your body to this podcast, I guess. Body rolls.
Yes.
Well, I guess for me, I don't know if you all can see, but on my coffee table, oh no, you can't because I've got the blur filter on. Oh, that's a Zoom joke for everyone. But on my coffee table, there's a giant stack of books that I've accumulated over the last, couple of years that I've been meaning to read. Have not gotten to a single one. But there are a couple in 2022. Oh my God, 2022. I've got to get used to saying that, that I want to get to. Hopefully that I can purchase from Black Garnet Books, the new Black-owned bookstore, independent bookstore here in Minneapolis that is opening up soon. They've been online for quite some time. Shout out to Gina for reminding us of that. But that is a pure Black joy right there. Can't wait for their brick and mortar shop to open. But Dennis got me a copy of the 1619 Project. Edited by the amazing Nicole Hannah Jones from the New York Times. I'm assuming if you listen to this podcast, you know what the 1619 Project is. But there are also, for the classical music heads, two really interesting books that I have found that I'm really interested in. So the first one is called Dvorak's Prophecy and the Vexed Fate of Black Classical Music. And a few months ago, we had Trevor Weston on, and he mentioned, a quote by Dvorak, the composer, talking about how Black music needs to be the foundation of the new American sound. And this sort of delves into that and the history of Black American classical composers, which is really exciting to me to dive into. And maybe we'll have like a score book club or whatever.
Will you read us some excerpts?
I will do my best. But then the other one that I thought was really cool, there was a review yesterday in the Star Tribune of a book called I'm Possible, A Story of Survival, a Tuba, and the Small Miracle of a Big Dream. And it's a memoir by Richard Antoine White, who grew up in Baltimore, sort of had a sort of chaotic childhood, overcame a family plagued by substance abuse, domestic violence, poverty, to become the first Black American to earn a doctorate of music in tuba performance. And I was like,
work.
Okay. That just sounds like a fascinating story to me. So I'm gonna get that book as well and hopefully devour it hopefully by the end of the year.
Yeah. You got it. I have faith in you.
Yeah, thank you. My actual diagnosed ADHD makes focusing on one book at a time hard, but I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do it in 2022. Well, I hope all of you out there have a beautiful and blessed 2022. I know it's really hard, and even those words coming out of my mouth, I'm just kind of like, we'll try, I guess. But no, really, everyone stay safe and stay healthy out there. But the score, we're going to keep going because we have lots of Black excellence and joy and goodness and music to bring you this year. So many interesting discussions and guests that I'm excited to bring on. And the first of which is coming up right after the break. We have the incredible, incomparable Broadway actrice, Met opera performer, incredible, just all around cool person. Janinah Burnett is on the show today, and we couldn't be more excited to sit down with her and talk about all of her experiences on the Great White Way. Hey. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Janinah.
And we are back, everybody, and we have with us today an extremely special guest, someone who I'm so excited to introduce you all to. We have Janinah Burnett, a singing phenomenon and one of the few singers to perform roles both on Broadway and the Metropolitan Opera stage. She was raised in jazz music, the daughter of jazz drummer Carl Burnett. Janinah was surrounded by such artists as Horace Silver, Freddie Hubbard, Eddie Harris, Shirley Horn, George Cables, and many others who inspired her early musical education. However, during her time at Spelman College, Janinah chose to take a path towards classical music and continued her studies in vocal performance and literature at the Eastman School of Music, where she received her master's degree in music. Directly following graduation from Eastman, Janinah thrilled audiences as Mimi in Baz Luhrmann's La Boheme on Broadway, in San Francisco and LA, which led to her performance on the Tony Awards, as well as her winning the LA Theater Alliance Ovation Award.
Okay, come on. Snaps.
Shortly thereafter, Janinah's brilliant technique and exceptional character interpretations led to her joining the Metropolitan Opera for their productions of Carmen and La Boheme, and she has since returned for Parsifal, The Marriage of Figaro, La Rondine, The Enchanted Island, Electra, and many others. Janinah made her Met debut as Bianca in La Rondine. In addition to her work at the Met, she has also performed extensively portraying such roles as Bess in Porgy and Bess, Violetta in La Traviata, Donna Anna and Donna Elvira in Don Giovanni, Norina in Don Pasquale, Sophie in Der Rosenkavalier, Marguerite in Faust, Pamina in The Magic Flute, and Michaela in Carmen, to name a few, in over 25 cities domestically and internationally. Prior to the COVID-19 shutdown, Janinah appeared as Carlotta Giudicelli and the Innkeeper's Wife in Phantom of the Opera on Broadway, while simultaneously presenting solo concerts of diverse musical styles as well as opera roles. Janinah is inspired to assist the generation succeeding her and privately teaches some of today's rising stars while regularly presenting master classes to students at colleges and educational institutions worldwide. And on a personal note, Janinah is just one of the loveliest people that I've ever met. Just so generous with her time and her gifts. And we're so excited to have you on the show. Thank you so much, Janinah.
Oh, thank you.
Yay!
It's my pleasure to be here. It really is. I'm so excited.
Oh, we're so excited to have you, and welcome to the show. I mean, you have a resume. My God. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I have so many thousands of questions. But, you know, one of the things that I was reading about your album, Love the Color of Your Butterfly, which I just think is such a beautiful sentiment. And reading that it was a piece of advice that was given to you by your mother. And, you know, with that extensive list also of just like mentors and your dad, folks that you grew up with, you know, I'm just curious, you know, what was that like, you know, having such an incredible, you know, all these incredible mentors around you growing up, and how did that lead to the album?
Well, it's so funny because oftentimes I hear a lot of my colleagues say that they're raised in church and, you know, they went to church every Sunday and everything. And for me, I say that I am raised in jazz, and with my dad's concerts, I would be there, the Playboy Jazz Festival, the Drew Jazz Festivals, all of the festivals, and the Wax Jazz Festival, you know, we would be there. That was my church, you know, and with that came presentations from all of these wonderful artists. And so because, you know, people would always see me, and I was really small when my dad was really playing a lot, and I would be in his lap as he tuned his drums. You know, people, you know, the people knew who I was. And as I grew up, they began to ask me to do different things around the festival. Like, so I was entrusted with getting Shirley Horn's fried fish during one festival. And it was so interesting because everyone, of course, knew that I wanted to sing. By that point, I was in high school and I was considering where to go to college and, you know, figuring out where my path was going to lead me. So whoever decided that I was going to be the fried fish getter knew that, you know. And so I had a chance to ask her. I didn't know what to say, but with my very best, you know, interviewing skills, I just was like, you know, Ms. Horn, you know, what is the advice that you could offer a young person who aspires to do what you do, who aspires to sing and tell musical stories. And she, you know, she was just like, just keep doing it. And at the time, I thought she didn't care. I was like, oh, she's just tired. And she, you know, she just wants to eat her fish and get on with her day. But that is one of the biggest pieces of advice that has really stuck with me. You know, just keep doing it. You know, when it gets hard, just keep doing it. So to answer your question, it was very rich to be around these musicians and those who made their homes, made their musical lives in music. It was normal, you know, it was human, you know, so I really enjoyed it.
Jealous.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There were parties. I mean, because you know, musicians, we like to hang, and because sometimes the things can be so strict, you know, it's nice to just let down with with people who understand you and allow you to be really who you are. So I do quite fondly remember the parties and the intense conversations and the positive words that I still hold on to today.
Wow. You know, love the color of your butterfly. So, you know, what exactly does that mean to you?
It's so funny. It's so funny because you know, of course, I'm asked this question quite a bit, and I feel like my answer continues to evolve. At first, it was like, oh, it's a saying that my mother would say to me whenever I'd be like, oh, well, she's doing it that way, I should do it that way, or they have this over there, I should have it too. And she would say, no, Janinah, you've got to love the color of your butterfly. You know, and it's such a beautiful sentiment because now more than ever, with the advent of social media and so many things that we're bombarded with, we see, you know, other people's lives, we see other people's, you know, sports highlights reels, and we feel like we should compare ourselves. So I feel like love the color of your butterfly is a wonderful mantra to remember your positive qualities, you know, or not even just positive, but love the completeness of your story. Love your bruises and burns and your ugly places and your positive places. You know, it's all of that because that contributes to the fullness of who we are, you know. And so, you know, on the micro level, it's, you know, really don't compare yourself to other people, but on the macro level, it's, you know, loving all that you are so that you can come out to the world and bless it, you know? The world wants you to be who you are. So with this album, I wanted to really, truly display the biggest parts of my musical journey. And, you know, it is a journey that, you know, is unique. And this juxtaposition of jazz and classical is one that I received a lot of, you know, when I wanted to do it in school, they were like, are you sure that this is something you could do? Is this possible? Like there was a lot of naysaying. And I was like, you know, whatever, I'm going to do it. This is what I want to do. This matters to me, you know? So it is definitely me loving the color of my musical butterfly, my physical butterfly, all of these things, you know?
That's so beautiful because that is a message that so many people need to hear right now.
Yes.
You know, with all the Instagrams and the TikToks and listen to me, I sound like I'm 80 years old. These kids on the TikToks. But I mean, it's true though. And you just get bombarded by all of these things telling you that you're not enough.
Yes.
That,
you know, as I said, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
Yeah, like it's like I said, the sports highlights reel, it's like only the high points. You know, you don't see the trenches that people had to go through to get where they are, you know, and it's that makes you, makes the wonderful, sweet parts of who you are, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Those 200 other pictures that they didn't post.
Exactly.
I think about how the past, I mean, year, almost couple years now too, we've had more reflection time than ever to, look back on who we are and like come to a sense of pride and joy and like in that reflection. And so, I mean, that leads me to wondering like what the past couple years now, of this pandemic, all these social changes, what has it been like for you as an artist, and how do you think it's presented new opportunities or challenges for artists of color in general?
Well, that's so wonderful, because that's another iteration, I feel like, of Love the Color of Your Butterfly. It's loving and knowing the places from whence you have come, so that you can go into the future, go into your present and into your future positively. And I can definitely say for me, this past couple of years, I found a lot of wonderful love and comfort in understanding what the ancestors have laid out, for the foundation they've laid out for us. And in Love the Color of Your Butterfly, that's another thing I wanted to present, that this is not something that's new and I'm just like, oh, jazz and classical, and this is, today this is what we're doing, or right now, Duke Ellington, he did that, and the power of the spirituals, how that continues to light our way in varying genre realms, and in the art form, the art song form, how that lights our path. With activism, a lot of us didn't even realize, I didn't even realize that African American art song was a tool of activism. And that was seated in the classical music genre, but we used that as to say our truths, and connected with the poets of the Harlem Renaissance, and and just created these wonderful elements. And it's a part of our past. It's a part of the story that so often we don't get to, or we don't know. So I have found a lot of comfort in going back to go forward, reading wonderful books and understanding about the path that was charted, understanding those names that we don't hear often, and calling them and saying, yes, Claudette Colvin, I know who you are. You know what I mean? Just understanding. Yes, it's given me a lot of comfort to know my past in order to go forward. And that being said, I feel that during this difficult time, understanding that a lot of my colleagues, I've been seeing them do the same, and searching their own hearts for ways to present their arts authentically outside of the social structure that says you got to do your art like this, in order for it to be heard and seen. I believe that this time really gave all artists a chance to break free of, the boxes that we were placed in. And so from that, we've seen so many wonderful things. We've seen singers do talk shows. We've seen, different kind of concert presentations and all kinds of things. And I really think that has invigorated our art form and invigorated the craft. And we've heard from people that we don't even hear. We just hear their singing and we know their voices, but we don't ever hear their stories. So this gave us a chance to really hear from people that we don't get to hear from at all, So it's been really positive, I think, in the midst of all of the unrest. And sometimes it's got to get real nitty gritty and ugly before the flower blooms. I mean, like the butterfly has to go to the bloom. We don't know what the butterfly is doing in it, or the caterpillar is even doing in there, but they're changing into something that is completely different.
And taking that point about the blooming, right? This sort of efflorescence that we have the opportunity to see. I think about artists like you who have managed successfully to straddle multiple fields at the same time. And I feel like there's so much that companies like ours can learn from your perspectives and what it is that you've seen. And we don't take nearly enough opportunities to sit down with artists and say, what can we get better? How can we be better? How do we meet the needs, especially of underrepresented artists more? Because I think it almost goes without saying that we have not centered the experiences of performers of color in the ways that we need to, especially on the classical music side. So I would love to hear some of your perspectives on what change we might be able to make on our end to be able to allow artists like you to shine as brightly as you would like to.
Such a good question. I believe that, it's all storytelling. I believe storytelling is such a big part of this whole thing. And I feel like the more stories that we can hear from, the more stories that we can get, that really will create such a beautiful blanket of life in the arts.
Yeah.
And I believe that the responsibility falls upon us as well to really delve in and find the creativity in our hearts to present new kinds of works and present the things that people told us we couldn't do. And have conversations about how these things might come to fruition. I really believe that's what time it is. We, the ancestors and the greats of the past have definitely laid this foundation, and they've done that work. So I really believe that it's time for us to do the work. And the content is out here. And I think that I think what we both can do is what we're doing, have a wonderful conversation about the possibilities, about content, about things that will make everyone, the audiences, enjoy themselves. I was thinking the other day when I was in Bohème on Broadway, Baz Luhrmann's wife, she did the costumes and she did the set and whatnot. She's a visionary, wonderful woman. And she was doing my makeup or something. And she said to me, we were just joking about something. And she's like, well, maybe we should do the opera in a rap. Like, I guess she was trying to connect with me, thinking, but I was just, and at that time, it was 2003. It sounded outlandish. But now, look what we have. We've got Hamilton, we've got Freestyle Love Supreme. We've gone places that were just like, we didn't think we could get here, because someone took a chance to do something, to find a different way to tell some stories. So I really believe that innovative storytelling on both our parts is something that will definitely move us forward. And I think that the innovative storytelling will give way to hearing from more kinds of people, which will then give way to the expansion and the inclusion that we all seek, that we want, that we desire, that I desire for sure.
Absolutely. And I think it's been really important that artists of your caliber have also been committed to that storytelling. I've seen you in Voodoo. I saw you, must have been 30 times in Harriet Tubman. And, I think really also having these established gifted artists investing in either these lesser known or newer works that are pushing forward this storytelling is really, really important for getting these stories on the radar screens of companies like ours, for sure.
Indeed. And there are people that are out there doing it and pushing the envelopes, and we have to find a safe place so that all of us can kind of come and share and be able to share.
Absolutely.
And I think it's also, very important to, even in these, more established pieces, Phantom,
Oh, yes.
for instance, we were talking before you jumped on about like Phantom has been running for decades. Probably will be running for the rest of our natural lives. And just taking down like those sort of invisible barriers, like why can't we have a Black Christine like Emily Coaccio and have you on stage at the same time as Carlotta? So I'm just so interested in that experience. What has that been like for you?
It's really been quite joyful to see her come out there and to see her, come into the company beautifully and positively and take on all of the information that she's getting and step out there and be positive and beautiful. It has really been a blessing. I've really enjoyed watching her work. And I've really enjoyed the response from my colleagues who have been there for a number of years and who want a lot of people, they want the change as well.
Mhm.
You know, and sometimes they feel uncomfortable because they don't know what to say or what to do. And then, you know, asking me, you know, but the questions and the conversations are happening, which is quite beautiful. So yeah, I'm thrilled. And we also have Lindsay Roberts who joined the cast as well as
Oh, wow.
a swing, yes, as a internal swing. So that it's been lovely to have those ladies there with me, and I'm really happy. And also Patricia Phillips is also a vacation swinger for now as well, and she was the first Black Carlotta. So yeah, so it's really nice to have have the sister girls there with me.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
We were talking about hair the other day, and I was like, yes, finally.
We talked about this a million times on the show, but like when I first started here at Minnesota Opera, I was the only Black person on full-time staff. So now it's like Lee and Paige here as well. It's just like, oh, thank you. Thank you, God.
Yeah, for the 3 years that I'm now the only Black full-time person, but before those ladies came, I was the only one in the building. So, and prior to me was Heather Hill. Same for her. So yes, indeed, it's nice that others are coming in.
Absolutely. Well, one other question that I had for you. So, you know, when I grew up, I was a Broadway baby in my little theater program in Virginia. And I moved up to New York at 18, and I was like, my name's going to be in lights. I'm going to be a Broadway star. And obviously, you know, things took different turns and I went in different directions. But, you know, as somebody who went up there, you know, went to New York, has this incredible career, Black woman, what advice would you give to other young Black performers who come to New York and want to have a career as rich and illustrious as yours?
Well, definitely the first thing is what Miss Horn said to me, keep doing it, because that you find is so often you just are like, forget it. I'm not dealing with this. I'm not doing this. And you just don't want that to allow your passion, take your passion away. You find the ways to kind of make it work. And you may find that it leads someplace else, or you never know what you'll find. But I definitely say, stay on the path, you know, and keep doing it. And the next thing I would say is, don't knock being versatile. Versatility has been always a part of my story. Because I love singing everything. I love singing what was on the radio. I love singing different things that I heard at church. I loved hearing the jazz music and singing that. And then when I got to Spelman and I saw them sisters singing classical music, I said, I got to do that too. I wanted there to be nothing that I couldn't do with my voice. And I didn't know that it would serve me so well in my future. It was just something that was a desire of mine. But a lot of people were like, no, you have to focus on one thing and you can only do one thing. And if you just do that, you know, and I just, to that I say, be your wonderful, versatile self, because you will work more. that is the truth. You will work more. And even the singers that I look toward, like, oh goodness, I can't remember the lady's name who taught at Manhattan School of Music, Hilda Harris. She sang backup for, you know, like Aretha and all of the sisters of the Motown thing while she was waiting for her opera career to do more. She was able to go and do that, you know? So you never know what you can do. Keep your options open, learn different kinds of repertoire. And that's not to say that you don't spend enough time on it. Your practice must be serious. You know, being versatile does not mean that you're not giving enough time to one, you know, you have to practice and hone the craft. That's key. Okay, so that's another key then.
We'll get you a keychain.
Yes, be versatile and diligence in your practice and solidify your technique, how you use your instrument. If you can play your instrument, you can do anything. Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
That is sage advice from one of the masters of the form, and we are so grateful for your time today, Janinah. I will encourage everybody to go out and get your copy of Love the Color of Your Butterfly, and Janinah is also actively touring in addition to her work in Phantom, and we will make sure we include in the show notes where you can find her, where you can hear her, where you can see her, so that you can also experience her gifts. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Well, this was so fun. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will be right back with Pure Black Joy. Woo!
Yes!
All right, and we are back, and it is time for our favorite segment, Pure Black Joy. Hit it, Paige!
It's peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly.
This is my favorite segment, only because of that.
Well, for our first PB&J segment of 2022, I'm going to hand it over to the lovely Paige.
Thank you, Rocky. So both mine are like Black television related.
Oh, so is mine.
Yeah. So I had one that I told y'all about, but then I thought of another one. First of all, before I forget, just congratulations to Issa Rae.
Yes, absolutely.
Issa, the legend, the moment, the it girl, Rae. Insecure just ended. If you ain't watched it, if you don't know what I'm talking about, get on HBO right now and find out. I have loved Issa's work since the show since she had a YouTube series, Awkward Black Girl, and the one that this show developed out of. And so to see her show Insecure on HBO, if you haven't watched it, it's written by Issa Rae, Black girl, a dark chocolate Black girl from LA, and writing a show about a Black girl similar to her, who is awkward and relatable and figuring stuff out. And it's about her friends too, and her dating life and being young, gifted, and Black, and the trials and tribulations. And it's just so relatable and has been such a joy to watch. So just congratulations. That is one of my pure Black joys right now. I don't know what I'm gonna do now that it's over, but something else. And the other one is Selling Tampa.
Girl.
On Netflix. Get into it. Listen.
No, my friend Melina, shout out to Melina. She talked to me. She was like, "Girl, have you watched this?" And I was like, "No," because I want to watch it. But like Selling Sunset is just not my jam. I think real estate stuff is not for me. But she was like, "No." You have to sit down and watch it. It's different. I was like, okay, all right.
Yes.
I'm open, but keep going.
I think you'll like it. I think it's different. I haven't watched Selling Sunset, but from what I know about it, this seems a little different. I mean, one, it's a Black woman who owns like a real estate company. They're focused on like luxury homes, and it seems like they're especially like moving more and more into doing exclusively that. So it's interesting to be at a point where they're like growing, there's a team. Her team is all women of color, mostly Black women. So I think there was one part even that was just like so relatable, like I almost cried about like what they were saying about just like
really
about like about the struggles of getting to where they've been at, or being underestimated, or being like, there was just some things that were very specific in there to being like a Black woman or femme having to navigate the professional settings, or starting your own business, or having your own thing. Like, there was some stuff that I was just like, ooh, I feel that. And like, there was some things that I haven't commonly found other reality shows getting to in a relatable way. But I think part of it also is that
also it's messy though.
But there's also messiness. But the thing is, it's not like, to me, a lot of the mess is like relatable, real life kind of messiness, not like extra, like clearly the producers egged you on.
Not like Real Housewives messy.
No Bad Girls Club, definitely not there. Like, no, it's like the kind of mess that you could relate to, working on the job or dealing with the person who, acts like a boss, but they're really not doing their job, or the one who is really good at their job but is a little unprofessional, a little wild sometimes. There's the struggles of, I remember what it was that really got to me. They were talking about the interplay of like their personal lives and their professional lives, and having all this on their shoulders, and how they felt like they couldn't be honest about personal struggles or other struggles because people may underestimate them in their professional life, and them as real estate agents, or their ability to, oh, you sure you can sell this? Are you sure you can do that right now? Seems like there's a lot going on. And I'm like, that's real relatable, especially since, Black women often have a lot going on. So yeah, I know so many who've had that same struggle, not wanting to admit how much is on their shoulders at the moment. So anyway, it's good. Just go watch it.
It sounds deeper than I thought it was going to be.
Definitely. Yeah, it definitely deeper. I think it goes there, and like has funny moments too, though. Like a lot of it's funny.
All right, well, we'll have to check it out. Selling Tampa. Okay.
Get into it. There's a cute little dynamic too of like older kind of Black women who are more experienced and those who are younger. Like, I think a couple of them are younger than me, who are just
okay.
So there's the generational, there's a little bit of everything. Love it.
Okay.
Loved it.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to check it out. Well, I kind of feel like I left everyone hanging when we took our Sagittarius season sabbatical with the Bachelorette. And so I guess we should finish that up because it is done. Michelle has found her love, her boo thing. And so when we left off, they were on their way to Minneapolis, and they did like 2 or 3 episodes in Minneapolis, and it was surprisingly boring. To be perfectly honest, there was just like some very low stakes drama, like, oh, they went to like the Stone Arch Bridge and Lake Minnetonka, and like, what's that place, the Mills Ruins.
Oh, the Mill City Ruins?
That's it, yes.
Okay.
They had dinner there. It was cute. But it was just kind of like, they went to the Viking Stadium, they went to Target Field, it was kind of whatever. When it got interesting, however, was when they got down to the Final Four. And this was the first time on The Bachelor that there's a Black lead, and all of her Final Four were also Black.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
Maybe the world is healing.
I mean, I'm just saying. And there was not an F-boy in the bunch. They were all like
amazing,
like lovely and sweet, nice boys in their own way. So the decision was like, which one of these nice boys is right for her?
I feel like that's not
I know
how The Bachelorette goes.
No, usually there's like some like messy villain who like sneaks in there to like, disrupt the proceedings and just like be terrible and misogynistic or whatever. And like this was just like, there were these four nice men. There was Rodney, who was so sweet and was so into her, but it was like, no, she's not gonna pick him. He's nice, but like he's not for her. And so he got, cut in fourth place. But then down to the final three, it was just like, okay, so Joe, who was the one who was from Minnesota, who played basketball, and she played basketball at the same time. Like on paper, like they were just like loving basketball, the movie, like they just like everything like in common, like. And he's so nice. And then he was telling like, I'm so in love with you. I've never felt a love like this before. And it was like, ooh. But then you had Brandon, who was just the sweetest, like the best high school boyfriend you could ever like, because he looked like he had a baby face, and he was just love bombing her, and like her parents just loved him. Like I thought like her mom was gonna start like greasing his scalp and telling like sharing the sweet potato pie recipe, and like like it was ridiculous. And he's just like, girl, I love you so much, and like sending her like cute little love notes and little tokens. And then like on like the morning of their overnight date, they got into like a food fight, like in the hotel room, and it was just like, it was just cute, and it was just like, oh no, well now you should pick Brandon. But then there was Nate, and he was like kind of the F-boyist of them all, but he was still nice and charming and lovely. First of all, fine as hell, 6'8".
Of course, the F-boy is one of them.
but like even he like wasn't like, they were trying to like edit him to seem kind of F-boyish, but like even he was just like super nice and just was like just very honest about like, I've never been in a relationship like this before. I am falling in love with you, but like this has never happened to me before. And like I only brought 2 suits with me because I thought there was no way that you were gonna like me this much, or that I was gonna like you this much. So I don't know what I'm doing. Am I doing this right? I'm in love with you. And like, so finally he was able to sort of come out of his shell and be like a little bit more emotional. And then like once he did that, you were like, it was like, well, Michelle, he's very attractive. So I mean, I'm just saying. So she has these 3 amazing choices. Who do you think she got rid of in third place?
Nate. No. Okay. Brandon.
No, Love and Basketball.
Oh, Joe?
Yes.
Damn.
Yes.
I was always gonna say I thought the ending of Love and Basketball was a little messed up, but okay. It was.
Well, apparently so did Michelle.
She did. She said, I didn't want that for myself.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Wow. That's kind of wow.
And it was so messed up because like when she met his family, the sister-in-law, when she was out of the room, was like, I hope that she picks him because we're gonna have to see her in the grocery store because we live very close to each other.
It's gonna get awkward at the Cub.
It's gonna be so awkward at the Cub.
We go to the same co-op, so
But I won't keep you in suspense any. Like she picked Nate. She picked the hot one. And then it was so sad. Brandon, she just broke his little heart into pieces, and he was crying.
That's the one Mama loved.
And he took the ring that he got for her and threw it on the beach, and it was very sad. But apparently they are super happy. Their mamas are best friends now, because like the mom, when she met Nate, was like, no, not him. He's not the one. You pick Brandon. We want Brandon. And so, but now like their moms were sitting next to each other and they're like, we're best friends and we love Nate and he's amazing. And then the show gave them $200,000 for a down payment on a home because he said he was going to move here to Minnesota to be with her.
Oh,
I
that's a
know.
commitment.
I know.
Okay.
So, hey, Black love, Black
Oh my
home
gosh.
ownership. It was
Can we have them on the show?
we should have them on the show. Michelle and Nate and Joe. But so that was my pure Black joy, because I just love seeing Black people in love and getting their accolades and their coins, and it was just a beautiful thing. So
Yeah.
congratulations to Michelle Young. Now we have to sit through this season of The Bachelor with, they did not pick any of the Black men in the top 4 to be the next Bachelor. Go
Maybe they
figure.
were too wholesome.
Well,
Like,
Maybe they were too wholesome, because apparently this new dude in the preview, he like is with like the top 3, and he's just like, I just have to tell you, I have been intimate with all of you. So, and then all the girls run off and they're crying. Like, I can't believe he did this to us. So I mean, I'm gonna watch for the mess. But no, it's not wholesome Black love.
well, hopefully next season or the season after.
Yes. Fingers crossed. But so that's my pure Black joy for 2022. Frankie?
Mine is, over our break, I watched The Harder They Fall, and I love a good action movie. I wasn't really into Westerns before this, but like I got to watch this with my uncle, which was very nice, and he loves Westerns, and his sentiment, I think, is what really made me love the movie. And essentially it was, he wished that this movie, as it is, had come out when he was younger, because then it really would have inspired a lot, like a whole other generation of Black actors. And like, I'm so glad that these names are in the movie, because like, oh my God, everyone was so good. The music is so good, and it's just such an awesome movie. It's
Because it's Regina King and
yeah, it's, hold on, I've got it up. Jonathan
Lakeith.
Majors, Idris Elba, Zazie Beetz, Regina King, Delroy Lindo, Lakeith Stanfield, R.J. Seiler, Danielle Deadweiler, Edie Gotke, and Dion Cole. And like every scene in this movie was so beautiful and so intense. It was really intense. I love a good gritty movie, and that's exactly what this was. Everything about it was just so good. Netflix did a good job, even though I think the last time I was on the podcast, we were kind of shading Netflix because of other transgressions. Yeah, no, they don't get a pass, but they do get like half a gold star. I guess I'll give them because this movie was really good. But yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, I highly suggest watching it and just being ready for like a really lovely ride. Yeah. Oh.
Oh, look at you! It's like you have chills.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, I sat through that movie, and movies don't usually like hit me, but there have been and I don't know how else to say it, but like the last time a movie gave me chills like this one did, it was Harriet with Cynthia Erivo. And it's like every time I listen to her song from that movie too, I get chills, and I'm just like, oh, so powerful. And like, again, this movie is super powerful, and I hope young actors see it and are like, I want to be in a Western, and just like shake up what we think of Westerns, because like there were Black cowboys. There were many
Mhm.
different types of cowboys out in the world, and there are still actually.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's not completely in the history books. Like there's still people doing this, and uh man, yeah. I'm just gonna keep groaning about how much I love this movie.
Well, that's just always awesome because I feel as though, the older I get, the less, you know, I find, especially with movies, they're able to sort of permeate my hard shell, my hard, cynical shell. So to have a movie, take you there, give you that experience, it's just such a magical thing, and especially like as a film major briefly, knowing exactly what happens behind the scenes, has sort of taken some of the magic out of it for me. So when those rare occasions when I'm sitting in a theater and I get like transported, I think like that hasn't happened to me since like Black Panther. I think was the last time where I was just like, I felt like I was like 13 again, and I was like, this is so cool. But it's a beautiful thing.
It really is. I'm definitely waiting for a piece of theater to do that to me, because I think it's lost its magic for me. But there's hope. There's always hope.
There's always hope. There's always hope.
I feel you. Yeah.
There's always new creators like Issa,
Mhm.
who are on the horizon, who are ready to make something new. So that's my hope for 2022. I think, as I said earlier. But I think that's going to be our show for the week. It'll be a relatively quick one for us, y'all. Just want to thank Janinah Burnett for being our guest this week. Please go and get her album everywhere that fine music is sold. She's also got a couple of performances coming up. So if you are in the Toledo, Ohio area, she's got a performance of Samuel Barber's Knoxville, summer of 1915, with the Toledo Symphony on January 15th. And she'll also be making appearances as Carlotta in Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. So check the show notes for links to all of those things. And I just want to thank both of you. Thank you, Frankie, for subbing in. For Lee, I hope you feel better. Get well soon. Yeah. We will see you hopefully next time. And thank you, Paige, of course, for being you. And thank all of you out there for listening. I hope you all had as restful a holiday season as possible, and as joyous a 2022 as possible. We will be here for you, slinging this mess that we always do. And if you want to hear more, the best way to help us out is to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Apparently you can do it on Spotify now too. So yes. So 5, 5, thank, no more, no less. Well, more if you can, no less. If you want to leave some words with that review, that would be exciting. Send us an email at thescore@mnopera.org. Subscribe and share it with your friends. I think that's everything, right? Share it with your friends, subscribe, rate, review.
I think so.
If anyone knows the folks from this past season of The Bachelorette, send them the episode.
Yes, absolutely. Michelle, Nate, Joe, Rodney, Brandon, any of you, come on the show. We want all the tea, please. Piping hot. But other than that, I think that's it. So I think we're gonna skedaddle, and we will see you in 2 weeks for our anonymous lover extravaganza.
Extravaganza. Ooh.
Yes. We'll see you then. All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Peace.